everyone, and welcome back to MacArthur Manor. This is episode 10, I believe. We are at 10. And a friend of mine once said, once you're at 10, then you should release your podcast, because then you got 10 in the bank. But I think, we've been doing it well, doing a week-by-week thing. I actually saw that YouTube itself is making a podcast. They're trying to get in the podcast game themselves. So they made, last month or something, they gave away for channels to make themselves a podcast. I think they're going to also transfer those audio files onto their Google Music, because, since Apple and Spotify are the big players in that space, they want a bit of that chunk. So we are doing that. And but I will try to, I think in the coming weeks or the coming months, try to put it up on Spotify, Apple as well, so y'all can hear our lovely voices without having to look at our ugly faces. Yeah, I'll have a little bit more time to do podcast-related stuff in the next month or so, because I was kind of busy because I was studying for a test and all that stuff. But now that I've got more time, I will be working on my next episode, which I have been working on for a while. Thank you. My podcast host is bored of the podcast I am doing right
bored.
now.
How are you doing, Dougie?
I'm okay. I've been still smoking a lot, which I just need to kick the habit.
Are you sure you don't need to just smoke to the point where you're just like, I'm done?
Wait, what do you mean?
You know how you gotta, I don't say hit rock bottom, but just do it so much that you're just like, this is disgusting. I feel disgusting. I need to live life.
I think that in a way, doing weed is kind of like you are lulled into a false sense of security, in that you could never die from weed. You can never overdose from weed. So that makes you just do more of it, because you're like, oh, well, I'll never fucking die from it, whatever. So I think it tricks you into thinking,
I'll never die from it.
It's not that I have this oh, I'm done, whatever. It's more I'll just do it tomorrow. Today it can wait, I think not that I've done.
Oh, so there's no rock bottom? Maybe if you take edibles.
Maybe if you take enough, but I feel like that rock bottom comes with the harder stuff.
Dude, I've taken I've taken plenty of edibles that just rock me, and I'm like, I never fucking want to do this.
Oh, really? Oh, to the point where you don't even want to be that high.
Oh, dude, I was throwing up.
Oh, yeah, I don't
terribly.
think I've taken enough.
No, then you need to do that.
Oh, is it kind of like the when you're a kid and their parents catch you smoking, they make you smoke a freaking pack in 10 minutes to
Sure. Or parents are your kids are like, oh, what's that you're drinking? Oh, here's some alcohol. Try it. Oh, that's disgusting. I will never drink that.
Oh, is that what happened to you?
No.
Oh, okay. I mean, I just thought alcohol was disgusting anyway. I still think it's kind of
gross.
gross.
Yeah, you still think it's gross.
Yeah. I hate drinking it unless I am at a social gathering and forced to, pretty much.
Then forced to imbibe.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is, when you're forced to imbibe, are you actually enjoying the alcohol?
I think there is a threshold level where it starts to become enjoyable for me. I think for me, it's the activation energy is so high. I didn't realize this because I only started drinking when I was 21. So I didn't know that I had a very high tolerance level for alcohol.
But you're Korean, dude.
Right. So then I started drinking and I was like, oh, this is gross. And it doesn't even do anything to me.
Oh, and then it started doing things to you.
Gross.
Wait,
whatever.
what's a lot for you?
I mean, I'm sure my tolerance has fallen as I've gotten older, but back then I needed at least 4 drinks to get me buzzed, to get me stoned.
Oh, wait, what? For what? For
4
margaritas? Not to say margaritas are at all.
Whatever constitutes the legal definition of a drink, I guess.
Okay. Gotcha.
The shot of whatever, or the glass of wine, the can of beer.
I'm going to drink each one. Let's see.
Well, there was a time when one of my friends forced me to drink a crap ton of different sort of things, and that got me.
They force you, as in they bound your hands.
No, they didn't
force
bind
your throat
my hand,
open,
but the guy
put
was
a funnel down your mouth.
The guy was like, "You are getting drunk tonight. I don't care," because I drank a few drinks that night, and I was like,
yeah, there's a thing called choice.
Right. So I was just like, you know what? Peer pressure me. Let's go.
So you chose to do this.
I chose to accept the peer pressure that was bestowed upon me, and I drank a shit ton of alcohol.
Oh, wait, what you ended up deciding you liking? Because you had to drink different things. Although there is a law of diminishing returns, so
I think once I was buzzed, I think anything tastes fine to me. Like, cause like you've already kind of like drank enough that like
your palate is numb.
a little bit, yeah. I feel
Okay.
like that, or it's more like what's another blah blah blah.
I know, but there's nothing that you're like, oh, I actually like this. Whether it be wine,
I mean, I guess
whiskey,
old fashions, like I
Yeah,
like
sugar.
to savor it a little bit.
Spices.
But like whiskey on the rocks, straight up, just like I don't know what people get out of it.
Well, is it because you haven't had a good one?
I've had like Glenlivet, whatever, freaking all the ones.
80 years old.
Not the super expensive ones, but I feel like even the super expensive ones, like they taste even more kind of like strong in this weird way to me. Like they talk about all the the oaky, smoky, whatever, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, that's still gross.
Gross. Well, I wonder, whiskey, sometimes our palates are not refined enough for us to actually enjoy it. So perhaps rather than just being on the rocks, adding a touch of water will help to disperse the flavor so that you could actually pick up the different notes.
Oh, sounds like a bartender or something.
Oh God, what did I do for 12 years of my life? Yeah, I encourage
you like alcohol in general, right?
sometimes if it's good, and I do love me an old fashioned, especially if it's good. And I worked in tequila bar, so it's like you have to really understand the product that you're selling. I mean, I hope meth dealers don't actually know their product that well, but be an alcohol slinger, you too are a drug dealer because alcohol is a drug, and it was just fun
Like
to educate.
Prohibition
Correct.
in the 1920s, but then they were like, we need alcohol again.
Oh
Just
shit!
kidding.
Why have we changed topics so much? So you're okay. You're not going to OD on marijuana.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then I feel like because of that, you're lulled into a false sense of security, so you do it too much, too often, because you're like, oh, I'll just put it tomorrow. I'll just do it tomorrow. And you're like, but then like tomorrow ends up being like 10, 15, 20
Years later.
Years later, like, dude, bro, what happened? I don't even know what happened,
It's
man.
funny. What's funny is because, I don't want to say 8 years ago, you're so different than this, right?
Wait, how was I so different? I wasn't different. I was the same man.
If you don't think you've changed, perhaps that is an issue.
I think certain aspects of me changed. I will agree with you, but I would say that ultimately it's the same operating system,
Operating system, but just as operating systems have program updates, frequent updates, I think you've updated. Yeah, there's some still rudimentary.
Sure. I mean, I guess like I would say
Let's lower your volume
like
just a
Windows
little bit.
95, that's still,
Yeah.
that's still me, I feel like. But then yes, Windows 10, 11, they have little cosmetic changes in here and there and whatnot. But
Oh no, you got more gadgets. There's the Chat GPT that will soon integrate into your system. The AI, the
the
programming,
Neuralink, is that
the
the
Neuralink.
thing you want to discuss?
Yeah.
You want to
Wait,
go into that,
so
or?
let's not yet. We'll go do that another day. Okay. So shirt.
I wore this shirt probably one of the first few episodes. It's the
Do you ever eat at
Spoils.
chicken places?
actually, you know what's funny?
What's funny?
When I first moved to LA, you know that El Pollo Loco?
Duh.
I'm just kind of like, is this like
I
a
know.
parody of
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah,
'Cause,
yeah.
like Los Pollos Hermanos, El Pollo Loco.
There is another place in is it Guatemala? Oh God, what is there's a lot of pollo places.
I see.
Yeah.
I mean, so apparently in the story of Breaking Bad, this is supposed to be a Mexican kind of place or whatever. Like that's what Gus kind of markets it as, some place in either Mexico or Nicaragua. He claims or something. And
Wait, something you don't know the specifics.
it's probably Mexico,
Mister,
but
I've watched it 8
the thing
times in a
is,
row.
He's supposed to be Chilean, so I'm not sure if he used Mexico and Nicaragua. I'm like 80% sure it's Mexico.
You better figure that shit out.
God, all right.
How many hours have you? I don't say wasted, since clearly you're not invested enough to know the details.
I have watched Breaking Bad probably around 8 to 10 times. Let's say 10 to an even 10, right? So there's 7 episodes in the first, 16, 23.
There's only 7 episodes in the first one.
62 episodes total.
Hold up, pause. There's only 7 episodes in the first season.
Yeah, because so that was the writer's strike in 2008.
Okay.
So they had to cut the season short, and there's actually going to probably be a new writer's strike on May 1st.
Exciting.
The first writer's strike since that writer's strike, which was 15 years ago. Relevant, I guess. Newsworthy. But yeah, so 62 episodes times around 40, let's say, minutes per episode.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Like, it was an hour long, but with commercials. And probably like around 45.
Yeah, I'm
40
like,
to
you
45.
wouldn't give it that. Maybe 42.
40. Yeah, let's just call it
45 for safety?
40 for safety.
Okay.
So I can get the numbers easily. So that's
There's a thing called a
2480.
calculator.
Let's make that 2,500 minutes. So yeah, maybe around 4,400 hours of Breaking Bad. No, is that right? I don't know.
If you know the answer, please put it in the comment section below.
Oh yes, because it's 2,480 times 10, which is 24,000. So divided by 60, yeah, that is 400 hours of Breaking Bad.
So how many days is that?
And not to mention another 3 to 4 seasons of Better Call Saul.
Okay, wait. How many days is 400 hours?
All the way through, that's around 15-ish days, no, 17-ish days in a row.
Nice.
Just watching Breaking Bad.
Cool.
Yeah, I also watched The Matrix over 100 times when I was 16 years old. So.
Oh, explains a lot.
What are you trying to tell me?
Explains a lot. All right.
Bullets.
No, not at all. Let's move on to current events.
All right, so all these current events are
I got
going
one.
to be. Oh, okay. Yeah. Before I go into mine,
Bitcoin is up.
Oh well, that's our main.
I know, but I'm just something I read on the news today.
I mean,
Bitcoin's up.
it's not really up. It's kind of just.
The moment I
trending.
checked, it was up by 6.15.
Yeah, I mean, it changes every day a lot, but
Yeah.
it's been in the general zone. It's been in the past 2 months or so, like the 27,000 to 30,000 band. It's been in that range. Yeah, I mean, there was like I said last time, I think the low was around 18,000 or 17,000 or so in October of last year, but I think it's kind of like responding to, I mean, we'll go on to this later in the episode, but it's responding to some of the monetary policy stuff I think we're seeing.
Very good.
Yeah.
Continue. That is all I have to add.
All right, so all of these are Korean related.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess like we'll start off with oh man, where do we even start?
I don't know.
I guess we'll start with some of the frivolous stuff first.
Okay.
There was a Canadian actor named Saint Von Colucci who died recently because he was spending plastic surgery to look like the BTS star Jimin.
Oh, and he died?
Yes.
Unfortunate.
Spent $220,000 on surgeries to look more like this BTS
Wait.
star.
Spell his name out.
It's right here. Saint Von Colucci. Right here. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I was like, I cannot read your handwriting.
Sorry.
Got it.
So yeah, I mean, there was this guy Ollie London who said he was transracial and was Korean now. I think he too had some surgeries. This was a few years ago. He's since kind of apologized for all of that. It's very weird stuff. But yeah, I don't know if you remember the Cloud Atlas movie.
Yeah.
That was also kind of like weird Asian face shit going on.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like ironic that.
Oh, he was an actor?
Yeah. So I think there was a Canadian production that was trying to do some sort of like movie or film with BTS, but wanted to cast. It just like speaks to how much the West really will not let Asian people tell their own stories, right? To
Hilarious.
the point they would rather put a guy who spent $220,000 on surgeries and then, eventually died from them than cast a proper Korean person.
Wait, why did he die?
Huh?
What was the reason for the death?
It was complications from one of the surgeries.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah.
I wonder how many surgeries that Jimin had to look the way he looked.
I mean, I think in South Korea it's pretty like guys will probably do nose for sure. Just kind of like cheekbone stuff.
Oh yeah, homeboy looks like totally like he's had his cheekbones done.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know too much about the plastic surgery industry
And lips.
and lips. But yeah, that's why I was like, remember when we talked about Jonas Brothers and all that stuff? That's why I was like, there is some risk associated with telling people, hey, just get cosmetic surgery. I mean, like, Kanye West's mother died from a liposuction surgery.
Oh, I'm not sure if I knew that already.
And I think, part of the reason Kanye kind of went off the rails is probably because he feels partly responsible for that. For like, oh, now my mom feels like she needs to keep up with the Hollywood celebrity lifestyle to like, to not embarrass his son and blah, blah, blah. There's probably a lot of guilt associated with that, I think.
Cool. Moving on. Thank you for that story.
The next kind of like thing was that there is a lot of robberies of Kias and Hyundais in Chicago recently.
They've really upped their games in terms of cars, Kias and Hyundais.
Yeah.
So I can understand they're the new, I don't say Hondas, but they're
like the new Toyota Camrys.
Yeah.
Like the standard that everyone has this. So it's like profitable to steal like common cars because then you could rip it for parts and then sell those parts to people like who need repairs, right? And that way you don't have to sell the full product itself, which is easily traceable and easily kind of like, so that's like the motive for car thieves to steal these kinds of cars. But the funny part is that now they're blaming the manufacturers for making these cars too easy to steal.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Have they talked about how easy it is to steal American cars? Like literally YJ got his car jacked because honestly,
What kind of car was it?
it was, it's a white van. I don't know. But literally you take out the key area and then you can just pop up in the door.
Is it American because it's white? It's a white van.
No, it's just a white. No, I know it's
it's like
American.
a Ford or like a Chevy or something.
I don't know what it is, but I know it's an American car. Just the mechanics behind it. I'm like, stealing your car is so easy.
Yeah. I think it's just like, it speaks to, there is, in my opinion, a lot of like petty crime and a lot of like larceny that is going on in the major cities. And, these police departments, for whatever reason, political or otherwise, they are being incompetent in solving a lot of these problems. And they just want a scapegoat. So they're like, oh, it's the Korean manufacturers who are making it too easy to steal.
Well,
whatever.
who's saying that? Number two, it's kind of
like city official or
okay.
whatever.
I'm like, it's difficult. We can't ask city officials to do everything or anything, really.
We can't?
Dude.
Isn't that what we elected them to do?
As you already know, perhaps a new order is needed, right? And
that's why I'm running for mayor in 2026.
Are you really?
I don't know. It depends on if I go to law school or not. We'll see.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I hope you haven't said way too many controversial things.
Oh, that's what I plan to run on. I plan to be the Trump of the left, where it's like, oh, this guy is willing to say the most audacious stuff about, Democrats, everybody, his own party.
You just say everybody.
Well, actually, I'm not going to run as Democrat, so.
You're running as an independent?
Or
Republican?
I'm going to hopefully run as a Marxist-Leninist as I form a new party.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
Okay.
Be the change you want to see.
Whatever, moving on.
Who said that again?
That's
Martin Luther King?
Man.
Gandhi? Steve Jobs?
No, it was Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I thought it was Gandhi. No, it wasn't Gandhi. It was the other guy from Africa.
Oh,
Nelson Mandela.
Mandela. You said that?
I believe so.
Okay.
How about you can fact check that?
He is a pretty admirable guy. He was in prison for 3 decades.
And Morgan Freeman played him. Let's be real. That's pretty amazing.
What movie was that?
Mandela.
Oh, I haven't seen it. So
Okay.
I guess I'll check it out.
Okay, what else is new?
And I'll talk about this probably next time as well. But the Rooftop Koreans, the LA riot anniversary is coming up.
Oh, what's Korea gonna do about that? Koreatown.
Korea's gonna do shit because they don't care about Korean Americans. But Koreatown usually has some sort of event that kind of like commemorates whatever.
I'm going to K-Town tonight. Gotta buy some kimchi.
Okay, relevant sort of.
Koreans.
So yeah, it's on April 29th. today is April 26th.
Correct.
I mean, you'll probably watch this April 27th because I usually put it out the day after.
Do you?
Yeah, I try
Okay.
to edit it all. And
I thought you did Friday afternoons.
yeah.
Or
Well,
something.
if you watched our podcast, you would know.
That's true. Well, I'm present in the podcast or in this episode.
Right. I'm also going to appear tomorrow, or I'm going to record tomorrow. I guess that'll come out maybe the next day or whatever. To Radio Korea.
Oh, you're doing that again?
Well, before last year was a documentary I made for them.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh, you mean again? Yeah. I'll be appearing a second time. Did you watch the first one?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, I did. Wait, when was it?
It was like 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
3
then
weeks ago.
no, I didn't watch that one. Can you put it in the link below?
Yes, the
Thank
time
you.
when I spoke to Radio Korea will be put in the link below. I put it in two links, two episode podcasts ago. But yes, but this one will be specifically probably about the LA riots.
Cool.
And what I think about it. Stay tuned. There's going to be. I think I'm gonna
As if
probably
we
drop
already don't know.
a hot take or two that I haven't said before.
Fun.
Yeah, it has to probably do with the LAPD and what I think actually happened during the LA riots.
Ooh.
Conspiracy theory time.
Let's go get our foil hats.
Yeah, so that's coming up. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was the beef controversy. I don't know if you've seen the show Beef.
Oh, I tried,
Yeah.
but that shit's depressing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a show about mental health. It's a show about depression. It is a show about
Anger.
It is a show about the antagonisms of capitalism, in my opinion. Not that they state that, but that's what it is, in my opinion, too. But I think there's been a lot of controversy in the past couple of weeks because one of the actors, David Choe, I don't, do you know about it?
Yeah. Well, we spoke about it pre-podcast last time.
We didn't speak about it, actually. We
No,
spoke
not
about
in it,
Oh.
privately. No, just pre
Yeah.
the actual script filming.
But I actually found out a few more details. I'm just curious, what was your impression of the story?
No, you share. Go for it. And I'll give you some feedback.
Okay. So I guess like what I'm saying is that like the way it was presented was that David Choe. So for those of you who don't know who he is, David Choe is he's a graffiti artist.
Teamed up with Facebook back in the day.
Teamed up with Facebook in 1996. Apparently, he wrote this, or he made this comic, or this. I don't know what you call it. It is a comic, but it's also like a graphic novel. Yeah, one of those graphic novels, I think. He published that in 1996 when he was 20, and I guess like he was just doing a lot of art stuff in that arena. And Sean Parker, who was the founder of Napster and also one of the people, he was in the Social Network, the Facebook guy. He's Justin Timberlake's character in the Social Network. He liked his stuff and he was like, "Oh, why don't you paint like these sexually naked photos? I mean, like sexually naked art for our Facebook offices, right?" And then, so he did that until 2004, and later on, he painted more, kind of like muted murals for the 2007 offices that he worked at. And so instead of getting paid with money, he actually like they offered him stock. Like instead of like I think it was going to be paid like $40,000 to $60,000 for it, but he was like I don't know who made the offer, but they were like, "Hey, do you want stock instead of money?" And he was like, "Sure, whatever, why not?" And then in 2012, he became when Facebook IPO'd, I think he was worth around $200 million. Yeah, so yeah, $60,000, $200 million.
That's a good investment.
Yeah, obviously he had no idea, whatever, but that was kind of like his origin story. So in 2012, he became a gajillionaire, and
200 million, not gajillion.
yeah, but because of that, he's part of the art world. He's a little crazy. He's a little eccentric, right? So he goes out and spends money and has all these crazy adventures.
And eats really well.
Eats really well. Wait, how do you know that?
Because he's like gone to eat with Anthony Bourdain when he was here.
Oh, you mean like he's on like good food shows?
Well, also like there's discussions about like, him hanging out and just enjoying life.
Yeah. But yeah, he's got a crap load of money. It's whatever. He's eating out. He's eating well. And he decides to partner up, or I guess he becomes friends with Asa Akira, who is a pornographic actress. And
Oh yeah, he has a show too on Hulu.
oh, that was before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure about that Hulu show, but yeah, I think he has a show on Hulu. But on that podcast, it's called DVD ASA, which is their names, right? David Choe and Asa Akira, but it actually stands for Double Vagina, Double Anal, Sensitive Artist. That's what the podcast is called. So immediately, this podcast, it's not going to be like this. First you have like a porn star, and then you have like an artist who's really eccentric and he draws like crazy crap. And, they're going to talk about off the wall stuff. And this is before podcasts were even a thing, right? I think most people don't realize, but podcasts didn't really take off until Serial Podcast in 2014. Which was, the murder. I don't know if you've listened to that.
No idea.
But yeah, that's when podcasts kind of exploded. But this was like, he started this thing like pretty much when podcast, nobody listened to this stuff. So they were just like shooting off random shit. And what I heard was, or what the story is that.
Where's the source?
Huh?
Where's the source from?
The source is, I don't want to name the guy, but it's a guy who's listened to the podcast.
Okay, gotcha.
He's like a regular. He was a regular listener for years of
okay,
this podcast. But what's being said in the news, so this is the difference. What's being said in the news or media is that he had talked to Asa about this story where he essentially rapes a black woman. Right? That's the story that's being presented.
Yeah,
to the
media. Gotcha.
Right? And it comes out that he tells that the story is fake, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It was like supposed to be a joke or whatever. And everyone was like, no, this wasn't a joke, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, this was real. He's a rapist, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, there's probably pretty good reason for that. So I kind of like, even I was like, oh, maybe he is like, I don't know. Like, that's what the media is saying, right? But then when I talked to my friend, right, the guy who was listening to it, he says that like specifically on his show, like on DVD ASA, every now and then it would be like this thing where it'd be kind of like the girl of the week that he banged, right? It would just be this story that he would tell from episode to episode about the girl. But it's not classy. It's not.
Please continue.
Great. Yeah. So then girl of the week, and then so this was someone he was actually dating. He wasn't like raping this person. It was like he was dating this masseuse.
Oh, was it like a scenario they played?
It was kind of, yeah, it was like one of those things where he was talking about like.
Okay, so then it was a conversation where it was
a person he knew.
Yeah.
And a person that also didn't mind him like saying
Sharing
random stories like this on podcasts, because that's who he is, right? Like this person wasn't like, oh my God, this guy is crazy. Why is he talking about me like this? No, it was just understood that that's what he does. He was like, it was like performance art, a little bit, but it was just like a stupid story.
And the media took it and ran with it
as if like he raped this woman.
And so now what's going to happen?
So in 2017, he addressed this actually.
Yeah.
He was like, you guys, you can ask her yourself. I'm not hiding anything. No one is coming forward that I raped anyone. Like you can act like this was my girlfriend or this was who I was dating at the time. She can verify for you that this is like not a thing that I did.
And so now what?
And so now people are like calling for, being like,
who's doing it?
So that's the thing that pisses me off a little bit. A lot of the people who are doing it are like Asian women in media who just want to like nail someone to the wall. And now
they want to nail an Asian American to the wall, Asian women.
And it's not even just that they want to nail David Choe to the wall. They want to nail Stephen Yeun to the wall.
Why?
For being friends with them, for casting
so
the show,
silly.
and being like,
okay, who are these Asian women? I gotta do some research.
Well, I don't want to put anyone on blast. I'll tell you later.
Okay, thank you.
But
if you want him to put them on blast, put in the comments below.
But the thing that like irks me the most is like just the hypocrisy, because like they say all this stuff about how Asian women are unsafe because of people like David Choe, and Asian women are affected by all this, like as if they care about Asian women in general, but they say nothing about the last, remember when I talked about the Japanese and
Yeah.
the comfort women stuff and like the disrespectful shit that's happening, like South Korea just trying to like wash over that shit. They said nothing about that. So that's why I'm just like, you guys are such like obvious clout grifters. You see a target and you try to make a name for yourself by like trying to crucify or cancel this person so that you could look virtuous and whatever. But you're really just like a fucking hypocrite, in my opinion. That's what like really irks me the most. You might have a point if you called all that stuff out. Then yes, I grant you that. Yeah, maybe it wasn't the best decision to cast David Choe or whatever. Blah blah blah. But it's just so obvious. You're just like gravitating towards whatever the cool thing that white people are looking at today or something. It's just like, what is the West concerned about? Let me go into that and let me try to make a name for myself by throwing Asian men under the bus.
Okay, I'm done listening to this topic. Thank you. You sound very riled up. I'm like, okay, that sucks.
Well, I saw a tweet, right, that said something like, I don't know if you know about the Jonathan Majors stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
We talked about that last time.
Right. So then people were saying, oh, what's with Marvel actors recently? And they put up Jonathan Majors and Steven Yeun. And
Oh,
just
dude,
like,
you know what that reminds me of?
what?
The like pre-LA riots, dude.
Oh, what happened?
Dude, it's like this incident happened and
Right,
this
yes,
incident happened.
yes.
Let's tag it together.
Yes,
It's like
exactly.
those are completely unrelated.
Like, one is like, got his reps to drop him because he's probably a serial abuser. And the other one is friends with a guy who made up a stupid story on a podcast.
He didn't make up a story. I mean, he's told a story.
Yeah, he embellished on a story that was taken out of context. And
Yeah, out of context.
Yeah.
Dude, there are so many people who enjoy rape fantasies. Yes, it can be viewed as wrong, but there's a power dynamic. And let's be real, there's a lot of power issues that still stand in society now that's okay. But like when it comes to the boudoir, it's not okay to discuss.
Right. I mean, look, I'm obviously against rape culture. I'm not saying I promote rape culture. I'm not saying he was in the right. I'm not saying I'm defending David Choe for his comments or whatever. But what I am saying that is just like, it just feels like there are levels to this, right? And I feel like,
I mean, there's two consulting adults, therefore it's not rape.
Right. But that, but I guess like, I just feel like Asian men are judged to like this standard that's like impossible to meet.
Homie, let's be real. As a minority in America, every minority in America is put to an expectation that we cannot
No,
meet.
I agree, but I feel like
I think it's because you're Asian American. You feel so affected by
it's
this.
also because it's all these Asian women who are trying to like nail like show some like.
Yeah, I can see you're upset by it. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
I think that's it for current events.
Thanks for bringing that.
But I do have fact checks.
Ooh, fact check.
So I looked more into the Bob Lee thing because you want to know more details.
Yes, I do. Thanks for keeping us updated.
The suspect or the current alleged killer is named.
It's still alleged.
I mean, obviously innocent until proven guilty, right?
True.
Never want to cast aspersions on anyone until things are settled in court, I suppose. His name is Nina Momeni. He was 38. He is 38. He's been in tech since 2005. He has a company called Expand IT since 2010.
Uh-oh. That's an IT MSP?
What's ITS MSP?
Managed service provider?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. HR like.
Does he do IT services for small to medium sized businesses?
I have no idea.
Okay, please continue. Thank you.
Apparently, the police are alleging that he stabbed Bob Lee 3 times with a kitchen knife.
A kitchen knife? Ooh, I hope that was sharp.
Yeah.
Only 3 times?
3 times, yeah.
Oh, so
very efficient stabs, I suppose.
Or, yes, for sure efficient, but I'm like, I wonder if it was blunt. Did he use like a lot of force? God, sorry. Let's not get caught up in those details.
I mean, you probably had to use a lot of force to...
I mean, if a knife is sharp enough...
All right.
But
I don't know if he was using like the latest in sushi knife.
I know he had a stone and he was just like sharpening it right before.
Yeah, kitchen knife sounds like crime of passion.
Correct.
Which they allege as well. Apparently, they were arguing about the suspect's sister,
What was he doing to the suspect's sister?
So Nina was saying that Bob, like arguing with Bob, like, did you give her drugs or something like that? Like, did you make her do anything
San
inappropriate?
Francisco? Yes.
I have no idea. But apparently that's the alleged killer, and that they had a disagreement. So it wasn't a random.
Do you really think it was him? Do you think it's staged?
I mean, I feel like
Conspiracy.
it was probably this guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for that fact check
And
update.
then the next fact check is the Saigon name.
Okay.
So a little bit history. Before everyone, there was a civilization called the Chan people or whatever. They settled there. Chan settlement was called Baigur. But then the Cambodians took over later on and called it Prey No Kor, which, yeah. And then later on, Vietnam took over and called it Gia Djin. Sorry, I don't know how to... That D with the line through it. Oh. And then the J.
Jadin.
Shidin.
Is that just home?
I don't know. I don't know Vietnamese.
Wait, is that family? Let me look it up.
But yeah, Saigon comes from the 1860s when the French, that was the name given it by the French. It does come from Vietnam. It is a Vietnam word, Saigon.
Dude, I gotta take you to this place with really good pho. Not today though. Another time.
All right.
And it's like half the price point of where you usually go.
All right.
And it's bigger portions.
Is it long ways away though?
It's 20 minutes, no traffic.
All right.
But if you ride with me, HOV lane.
All right. Get the hookups. But yeah, in the 1860s, it was French. It means something like firewood or stick. Apparently, it might have been kind of like in the Cambodian roots.
Family, I was right.
Saigon or
Jadin.
Jadin.
Yeah.
Yeah, they called it family, I guess, back then.
Aw, that's nice.
And I think like the Saigon might mean like plant, like be a reference to the kapok plants that the Khmer kind of people grew there. Anyway, today,
wait, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Today, the official name is Ho Chi Minh City.
Oh, I know that.
But there is a district in Ho Chi Minh City that is still called Saigon.
Yeah.
So Saigon still is a thing, but it's not the city. It's just like a area. So Ho Chi Minh City happened in 1945 after the Japanese were defeated. That's what Ho Chi Minh declared, or I guess the Democratic Republic of Vietnam declared that Ho Chi Minh City was not, or Saigon was not Ho Chi Minh City. And in 1976, it became official after the Americans were pushed out.
Push them out.
And Ho Chi Minh means
What does it mean?
Ho means apparently this is like the Chinese like the Chuhan. Do you know what Chuhan is?
Chuhan.
So before the French colonization, Vietnam used Chinese
Yes.
letters for their language. So Chuhan was the Vietnamese like kind of like system for using Chinese for their language. And so in this Chuhan, whatever, Ho Chi Minh means enlightened will is Ho, and spirit is Chi.
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
And Min is light. So kind of like literally means like light bringer.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And I think it's an apt name. I think
You love Vietnam.
I love my guy Ho Chi Minh. What can I say?
I guess so.
Yeah. So that's what I got.
All right, you ready to move on?
Yep.
Let's move on. You ready to talk about some Bitcoin?
You got the topic, right?
Yeah. So, what is crypto?
What I guess I want to ask you first, what inspired you to ask me about this recently? Did you see something? Did you read something?
I think it really spurred from our conversation last time.
Okay.
Yeah.
We talked about crypto a little bit.
No, we've talked about just how, well, we did talk about how crypto, Bitcoin, is actually going up because of the entire monetary situation going on with the Saudis and China and Russia and France.
When was the first time you learned about Bitcoin or crypto?
Oh, it came around. Of course, I've been familiar with it for 6 years, but it wasn't until 2020
when everyone was talking about
when
it.
everyone was
Web
talking about
3,
it.
blah blah blah, whatever.
Like, oh, you got a wallet? Do you have? Are you invested in what is that called? What's the E one?
Dogecoin?
Oh,
Oh,
no, that was
Ethereum.
Ethereum. No,
Yeah.
Dogecoin came what 2021
No, Dogecoin was
or end of
around
2020.
for a long time, but it did boost in the 2021. Yeah.
Yeah, and then what's his face?
Elon.
Elon was on SNL, and then he made a comment about Dogecoin,
Yeah,
and then
that was
it
just
sunk.
idiocy. Yeah, I don't know what he was doing. He's just like trying to be funny.
He's trolling.
Yeah. Alrighty. So I got into Bitcoin 2017. No, I got into Bitcoin actually 2013, but I didn't get into it enough to make a lot of money. Because if you got into it like big 2013, you're
My brother got one because he thought it was interesting in 2012.
like, how many?
I think he got one,
Oh.
but he has no idea where.
Oh, yeah. So there's a lot of stories like that, too.
Yeah.
Where, like, there's this guy who apparently had thousands in a hard drive, and then he threw out his hard drive, and he petitioned to the London government to, like, try to get, like, a project going to retrieve the hard drive. But, like, it's been in toxic waste for years. Like,
Oh,
even if they were able to find
decay.
it, like find that needle in a haystack, yeah, that, like you said, it's this is like
Decomposing.
acid shit, whatever. Yeah. So good luck with that. But yeah, so it's neither here nor there. Basically, I still kind of am somewhat aligned with Bitcoin because I think it does talk about a lot of the issues that socialists would actually agree with. But I guess I'll go back into the history.
Yeah,
of
let's
it.
go. Let's break it down. Let's go back.
Yeah. Back. So in 2008 was the financial crisis. 2007, 2008 was a financial crisis where, all these banks were making all these loans that were not really good. And it came all crumbling down when, the bubble burst, right?
The bubble burst.
And this guy by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto, that's a pseudonym. Nobody knows who he really is.
Really?
Yeah.
No one?
Yeah. I mean, there are speculations that he is, government agent, maybe CIA, NSA. There's speculations he's a consortium of people, of like hackers. That
Oh, his name's actually an acronym.
maybe he's like a group of hackers, whatever. But for whatever reason, he presented himself as a single person, whatever. He wrote on message boards about his project, Bitcoin. And he was working on this, I don't know, for the better part of a couple years before he launched. And basically, the idea behind Bitcoin is that he wanted to create a currency that could not be controlled by any state or any person or any company. He wanted to create this kind of money system that would not be able to be manipulated by, the Federal Reserve, for example. So that
interest rates.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like when you have a dollar, like, every dollar you earn, like, I think there was like some chart from the I don't know exactly when it was, but like you literally like have $1 worth like 1 cent after like 80, 90 years or something. So like
Wow.
your money is continually being eroded, right? Because
depreciating.
the Federal Reserve is just printing more money. So that's the idea behind it, to create this kind of like reserve currency that is never controlled by any state or whatever, and it's only controlled by the network. Yeah, so it's a very... I don't know how technical you want me to get into this.
Very technical. Because the thing is,
Okay.
when I hear about people who are able to mine with energy, they can
Yeah.
create blockchains. And then they can just like, if you invest enough money, you can, if you move to Utah where the energy costs are low, live near a dam because they have a surplus, then you can build these blockchains which hold energy, which therefore you're just making more money. And blah, blah. I'm like, okay, that sounds like the Federal Reserve printing more money.
So... Bitcoin has a limited supply. There's 21 million Bitcoin can only be created ever, and that is supposed to happen in the year 2100 or so.
So it's still being made.
Yeah. So I think there are around maybe 19 million or 20 million Bitcoins in existence today.
And they're trying to get to 21?
Maybe a little less actually. Maybe it's 18 to 19 right now.
And they're trying to get to 21?
21. But how it goes, it's like a half-life. So in the first 4 years, every block mined gives you 50 Bitcoin. And then in the next 4 years, every block gives 25, and then 12, and then 12.5, and then 6.25, and then whatever.
Nope. All
right, let me back up a little bit. So
I was like, this isn't radiation. Like half-lives? What?
man, how do I ELI5 this? Basically, it's. I keep saying basically.
I know. I'm like, dude, I told you. Come on, man.
I didn't know you wanted me to get this technical. Okay.
No, I wanted you to make it so that a person who has no knowledge of it could understand what it actually is. Because, of course, the idea of blockchain, I'm like, okay, a blockchain. But
yeah, I guess we have to move back a little bit.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Give me concepts that I can understand and digest.
All right. We got to go way back then. I think we got to go way back than just Bitcoin itself. I think we got to go way back into the concept of money.
Okay.
Okay. So
gold.
Yeah. So what is money? Like, in your opinion, kind of like what is money, and how is it made in human society, and like how?
Well, people use that as currency, right? What is money? It's just a way for us to put a price on, say, a service or work so that we can be compensated so that we could, I don't say purchase capitalism,
right.
services and or goods.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we get, of course, compensated with the money for what is viewed as the value of our work.
And how do we choose what to make as our money?
Society chooses for us.
Right, but I guess like historically.
How did they do it back then? I was like, I know the Romans did some shit.
Yeah, so I think like, in early civilizations.
Oh, didn't they base everything off gold?
Well, that came a little bit after. But I think in early civilizations, they kind of used whatever was kind of like
accessible
and not really changing that much, and like you can count on it like being authentic, so over time gold became that standard because it exhibited a lot of those characteristics. Like it was fungible, right, which meant that like one gold coin could be changed into another gold coin. You could play around with the substance, but it'll still be like one gold coin or 1 gram of gold is still 1 gram of gold in another thing, right? And it's not chemically reactive as much as a lot of other elements. So like gold will stay gold no matter what a lot of the times, and it is rare, right, or rare-ish. Where you're not like finding gold off the street and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy a ramen with it or whatever.
That'd be dope though.
So it has all these like scarcity, whatever, these properties that make it a good substance for using as a medium of exchange.
Okay.
And for the longest time, actually, our societies were built off this gold standard. The paper money, the fiat money stuff really is a recent development in the past 50 or so years, because everyone denominated their kind of like yes, they had currency, but you could always use that currency to buy back gold. So like the currency was just supposed to represent how much gold
you had. But see, that's not fair because if a person mines, you can get gold.
Right, but I mean like.
It takes a lot of energy to get gold.
Yeah.
So they kind of earned it.
Well, I mean, it depends on how you view gold mining companies in general. That's a whole
slavery.
Yeah, there is a lot of slave labor in gold extraction.
I mean, if a person does get gold, can't they just like, I don't want to say slip it in their pocket, but shove it up their butthole, put it down their throat, poop it out later?
I mean,
who wants to eat gold? But
you're talking about an industry that has probably been perfected for hundreds and hundreds of years, and they probably thought of that stuff already and how to counter stuff like that. They probably use metal detectors and shit like that. I have no idea. I'm not in the gold business, but every problem you're probably saying has probably been addressed because gold mining operations exist, and they probably wouldn't exist if they weren't profitable.
Okay, sorry. Continue. So we have to move along, otherwise this will be forever.
Right. So that's actually kind of like why Bitcoin kind of almost is a way to try to go back to this gold standard, in my opinion.
Oh.
Because what happened in the 1970s is that I think it was Nixon that kind of like said, oh, we're no longer on the gold standard anymore. We're just going to print whatever we want. And this came out of...
oh, that sounds terrible.
This came out of their dominance of the oil stuff.
Okay.
Basically, in the 70s, there was this oil crisis, in I think it was 1973, where OPEC kind of was like, we're going to, cut off the supply and sell at our prices, whatever. And America kind of agreed with that, but then they said, we'll agree with this stuff if you use our dollar to denominate the trades. Because if you do that, then every country in the world has to have US dollars. And with that power, they can dictate kind of terms of trade. They can dictate like
values.
Economic policy.
Yeah,
exactly like that. What the Federal Reserve does affects all the entire world if that petrodollar exists.
Okay.
And then once that happened, I'm not exactly sure how or why, what led to the de-goldification of the dollar, or like the moving from the gold standard. But I guess it was just like, oh, we have enough leverage that we can get off the gold standard and print whatever we need to fund our wars and whatever.
Because we don't want to rely on just Americans or governments dictating the value of money, so this group collective or one person decided that they want to create they create their own form of measurement. But like, is it energy? Okay, so
let me back up a little bit. So once that happened in the 70s, when the Federal Reserve has the power to print as much money as they want.
I get that.
The banks get all this extra money that they can lend out and make money off of. And that's what kind of like created all these financial crises of the 80s, 90s, whatever. And so I guess Satoshi, seeing that, was like, hey, we need to stop this like merry-go-round from happening over and over again. And I don't he might have been working on it before the financial crisis. But I think he was just like,
time to put in play.
Yeah, it was a good time to talk about or build something like this, because all this shit was hitting the fan. And to that point, when he mined the first block of Bitcoin, there's a message on it that like says like 2009. It refers to a newspaper that talked about the financial crisis.
Okay, wait. So he mined it. What the fuck does that mean?
All right. So, I'm not the best. I'll send you a link to a video later.
And you'll also put it below.
Yeah. But essentially, the problem with the Federal Reserve was that the Federal Reserve had the power, right?
Correct.
They could print however much money they want. They could control the money books, right?
Yes.
So he wanted to make a system where nobody can control it, right?
Yes.
But how do you do that, right? That's like, how do you make this random system? So what he thought of was that money is essentially like a ledger, like a record keeping thing of like how much money did A send to B, what transactions happened, right? And that's essentially why I asked you before about what is the function of money. That's essentially the function of money, to be like, oh, he gave me 5 carrots, or he gave me 5 apples, whatever, and so I gave him $6 or something, whatever it is, right? And so he said that like basically Bitcoin is a list of transactions. And how do we keep this list of transactions decentralized? How do we keep no one able to control it? So he said like, oh, there's a way if you use a lot of computers on the internet to validate these transactions that will make sure, because like everyone else is keeping everyone else honest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's how this works, right? Like, if a person wanted to kind of double spend,
they can't double spend.
They can't, because everyone else is trying to keep them honest by this mining operation. So functionally, here's how it works. Every second or whatever, there are transactions that are broadcast to the network, right? To the entire Bitcoin network. There are transactions, and then there are all these computers that are trying to come up with this number that fits into the algorithm that mines a block. And once they mine the block,
Homie, you did not break it down. No, you give me theory. Okay.
no, I'm telling you how it works.
Okay, when he's mining it, like, what is that actually?
Oh boy. Mining is basically
Creating
it's basically
space
that.
in an imaginary world?
It's
In a cloud?
it's telling the computers. Jeez, this is like so hard to explain.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, I don't say draw me a mental picture, but like, how does this work? I know how cloud computing works. I know how, like, but what does mining mean?
Mining means, the literal definition of mining is to solve a SHA-256 hash algorithm.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're trying to figure out an algorithm?
So SHA-256 is a algorithm that was created by the NSA.
Oh,
and
God.
It's a cryptographic algorithm. Basically what it is.
Okay. Like, okay.
Yeah. Basically what it is like how you have antivirus software and stuff like that. It's in that realm of like, this is a thing to create a password or create like some sort of like thing that only one thing can recognize. And it's a very, very strong security type thing. And so in order to solve for this hash algorithm, computers are just like trying random numbers and to try to solve it, because there's no actual formula to solve this thing. It's kind of like if you were to break into a password, right? And you just tried everything.
Yeah.
That's essentially what computers are trying to do when they're mining.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's
they're
helpful.
Trying to just like, so obviously.
So there are different variations, and once you get the variation, that's done. You got that code.
Yeah. So then you get the credit for mining that block.
Yeah.
And so once you mine that block.
Let's not use the term block. Use password. Once you got the password.
Once you got the password for that block. You decide, okay, I accept these transactions, because these transactions also come with a bounty. Some of them transactions come with like an extra Bitcoin for the block person, the person who solved the block.
The password.
So the person who gets the password,
they get
a reward of, whatever the block reward is. At the beginning it was 50. Now it's around, I think it's around 6.25 Bitcoins. They get that reward.
Oh, wow.
But they also get the reward of the transactions
attached to it.
That they attach to it.
Oh,
And
there
so,
are fees attached to it.
So every transaction, Bitcoin transaction, has a certain amount of Bitcoin that's attached to it. That's a fee that goes to the block owner.
So there's only 21 million.
21 million total.
Yeah.
Like full
So
Bitcoin.
once
But they can be divisible by like up to eight digits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Fucking finally. I love the stress. I love the stress. You're like, oh God, I didn't realize I had to. I was like, I get it.
So this is how. So obviously sometimes your transactions get dropped if you don't put enough money in, because they're going to be like, oh, I don't want to accept your transaction if you're not going to pay anything, because there's a limited amount of transactions you could put on the block size, because Satoshi made the block size around 1 megabyte or 2 megabytes. So there's only a limited amount of transactions you can put on it.
So if the ones that aren't mined yet, the ones that haven't been discovered, did he put values on all of them, or did he put or are people arbitrarily like throwing money at?
It's not that they're not discovered. It's just that they're unmined.
Okay. Well, okay, I get that.
Yeah.
But how's there? If you're saying like there's some that don't have fees attached to it, like no transactions accounted with it. Why?
So those transactions can eventually go through. It's just like if the network is especially clogged, you want to put a higher fee on your thing to make sure that it goes through.
Wait, no, okay, now I'm lost.
Okay, so every block, there's transactions all the time, right?
Yeah.
There's transactions on the Bitcoin network all the time. But
Where are they attaching to? I'm thinking Matrix,
what
right?
do you mean?
Like you're saying there's Bitcoin transactions all the time.
Yeah.
Like what are they attaching to?
There are Bitcoin nodes all over the world.
Yeah.
That manage these
Oh,
transactions.
so they just pick it up.
You're broadcasting your transaction to this network.
Like if I'm investing, say I invest $20 arbitrarily into Bitcoin.
So what you would do is you would put that $20 into a dealer, or not a dealer, but an
Broker?
exchange,
Okay.
like Coinbase or something, right?
Yeah.
So what they do is they take your $20 and they go to the market and say this $20, and then you extract whatever amount of Bitcoin you get for that $20, and then it sits in your wallet, in your exchange wallet.
Yeah.
And you have the opportunity, if you want to, exchange that wallet into a private or personal wallet. But all that wallet is basically, that's the thing. There's nothing that like actually holds Bitcoin. There's nothing that holds Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just like a key. Like your wallet is essentially a key that says I have
A percentage.
access to this
Specific.
Satoshis. These
Yeah.
specific Bitcoins are mine. So that's all a wallet really is.
Okay, but my question goes back
Yeah.
to originally what I was asking. It's like you said some will lose value or some doesn't have value attached to it. Like the unmined
I'm
ones or
saying
mined
that-
ones?
So let's say you want to send a Bitcoin to your friend.
Yeah.
Let's say for
There you go, a Bitcoin.
services rendered. Yeah, $27,000 for
Yeah.
being my friend.
Yeah.
When you send that one Bitcoin, you also have to put some sort of fee on it.
Why?
So you're essentially bidding for your transaction to go through, because
What?
each block is a finite number of data, right?
Oh.
And so there are sometimes, I'm not saying all the time, sometimes the network isn't as clogged, like late at night or something like that, like when there aren't as many Americans
Late at
awake,
night.
or the market isn't as like active. But essentially you are competing against other people who also want to get their transactions sent. And so in order to kind of like get your transaction sent, you have to put a little bit of money or a little bit of Bitcoin so it'd be
It's
like
like you're bribing your Bitcoin to go through.
Yeah. So it's like 1.0002 something, whatever.
So you're losing money to send money.
Yes, but that's kind of like what the miners are there for, because the miners are using a lot of, like you said, they're using a lot of energy. They're using a lot of electricity to kind of secure the network, because like if you didn't have that system, then anyone could come into the network and just change all the transactions and fuck with it. So you need to have this competitive system in order to make it very cost prohibitive to fuck with the network. And we're now at the point where no single person, no single company could really destroy the Bitcoin network. It'd have to be like an entire state or a world organization that organizes to destroy Bitcoin. But it cannot be done now by one single person or country, even maybe.
Wait, I'm sorry. Rewind.
Mm-hmm.
So it requires a lot of energy
Yes.
to maintain the network or to infiltrate the network.
To both.
Okay.
Maintaining the network is protecting it from infiltration. But so people say what's known as a 51% attack, which means if you have over half the power of the algorithm, like calculation, then you can win enough blocks that you could kind of like change the nature of like the transactions that are.
How would a person do that?
Again, this is beyond the technical purview of this
Oh,
discussion.
Douglas Kim? Got it. Oh, thank you. This has been illuminating. Okay, so when a person mines, they get transaction fees plus the
Plus, yes,
Bitcoin.
plus the reward.
Okay.
And that reward is going down every year, every 4 years or so.
Okay. You said what has a half-life?
So it's around 4 years, every 4 years. So it started at 50.
Oh, so as a person continues to mine, they'll get less and less
Yeah,
and less and
yeah.
less. So everyone should start mining now to maximize the profits.
Well, you can't really mine nowadays as a private person, because the amount of energy required to
Again, move by a dam where there's a surplus of energy.
Yeah. So what people do is that sometimes they contribute calculation power to a pool. And so when the pool wins, they divvy it up between the people in that pool.
But there's also some places that don't charge for electricity. And so you could also set up shop there.
Yeah. So some people are trying to build solar farms and stuff like that. There's a lot of operations in Texas that try to mine Bitcoin. But yeah, obviously, if you have solar or renewable energy, that is a good way to make Bitcoin.
So what's up with Ethereum?
Ethereum is something that was built by this guy Vitalik Buterin, who is also a Bitcoin proponent himself, but he wanted to make a cryptocurrency that, kind of like, I guess the dumb version is like smart money that under certain conditions do certain things. So traditionally, like, I guess like the easiest way to describe this is like in commerce and economics, you do transactions all the time, right? But sometimes there's a lot of friction because there's not as much trust between different companies or corporations and whatnot, making deals. And in order to manage that, there's a lot of lawyers, right? There's a lot of lawyers that get involved that make sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted.
Yep.
But he was saying, if you can make something what he calls a smart contract embedded in this money, you can remove the need for all that
the lawyer
stuff, because like this will do, like, if X event happens, Y will happen no matter what. So
okay.
Like, there's no like, there's no lawyers coming in and saying like, you got to do this. It's like, this is already done.
Cool.
Because like there's people who like do shady stuff all the time.
Facts.
And so that saves a lot of money, right? Because now you're cutting out the legal fees and all that stuff, and you're just trying to make like transactions more efficient.
Cool.
So what's unique about Ethereum, other than Bitcoin, is that now you can build kind of technologies on top of this.
How many Ethereums can you have?
I think Ethereum does not have a supply cap, but I don't think the supply is increasing as much as general, money supply machines like the United States, for example.
Unlimited spending.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but apparently 80% of the money supply currently in circulation has been created in the past 3 years.
I don't know if we've had that conversation or what, but that's a lot.
Yeah, it's because of all the stimulus packages.
Yeah.
That, in my opinion, were not distributed well. There was a lot of money that was...
Homie, wait, did you see that chick that's being considered for Secretary of Labor?
Who?
The Asian chick from California.
I have no idea. What'd she do?
Oh, she's Asian American. Biden's like, yeah, let's get her for Secretary of Labor. But the Republicans that are anti her are all like, yo, you were giving away free money to peoples. And she's like, they're like attributing that to her primarily. It's like, yo, this was an infrastructure issue.
Yeah.
And she was one of the people, of course, that put, I guess, a trigger in place to reduce that. But
yeah, I'm fine with the money given to citizens, the 800 checks or the 1,600 checks, whatever. But I think that what a lot of people are missing is that a lot of that money went to corporations, and a lot of those corporations didn't even need that money.
Oh, hello, the NBA?
Filing for PPP loans for like millions of dollars that they were just getting for free, and it was just like,
yep,
what?
Forgiven.
Yeah, and in my opinion, that's what drove the stock market rise during the pandemic, because it doesn't even make sense, right? If you're in a pandemic and economic activity is being shut down for the next, who knows when. Yeah. Why would the stock market go up? That means that like,
Amazon tripled in stock value in 2020.
I'm not sure if it was Amazon, but it was a lot.
I'm pretty sure it's
companies.
Amazon tripled.
But then now a lot of those gains are being wiped out, right, in the past year, and I think it's because all those gains were kind of just funny money. It's just people like getting all this extra money and be like, hey, maybe I'll just throw it back into the market because I don't need it right now. And
Yeah.
that's what I think actually caused the 2021 like stock market rise during the pandemic. We were like, oh, the economy's fine, stock market's coming out. No, it wasn't fine. It was just that it was artificially being propped up by this trillions of dollars you're just putting into thin air. And I think
A lot of people are doing home improvements. Like, sorry, Bed Bath and Beyond went out of business, bankrupt.
Oh yeah.
Selling what? 300 stores are going out.
Oh, they're going out of business.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Bed Bath and Beyond. What since when?
Since early this week, last week.
Oh.
Or March. Oh yeah. I guess that's an update you didn't know about.
Yeah.
So the CEO they had put in place, it was prior to the pandemic, but he's like, yeah, we're getting rid of all these products, but those are the products that people were buying during the pandemic, i.e. KitchenAid and just like home improvement things. But he had tried to do like very niche, cool products, trying to make it bougier, but that did not play out.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were fooled by some artificial demand, I'll call it. Like, it's funny because different industries had different kind of ebbs and flows. Like the movie industry, for example, you know how nobody was going to movies, obviously, in the 2021, 2020, even first half of 2022, because of COVID, obviously. So there was a period where people were stopped making movies, right? Because they were like, oh, movies are dead now, like, or whatever.
Really?
Well, you can't even release them in theaters or
Yeah.
whatever. But then in 2022, you had a situation where there were not enough movies in movie theaters. And so you had these random movies that were not really
Terrible.
that good, but like that were doing financially okay because nobody had
People
anything
just
else
wanted
to
something to
watch.
consume.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, I paid for that AMC pass. I want to get my money's worth.
Yeah. So I think people are, I think the pandemic has also caused this kind of like demand confusion.
Oh yeah,
in
because
terms of, like,
there's been a reduction in viewership in watching, so people are so networks are like
Netflix had that boost, right?
Yeah,
they're like, oh,
and now they're going back down.
Yeah, exactly. Because people now have to do things with their lives,
and they're living life.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think that's kind of like highlights a little bit of the problem of the Federal Reserve having the unparalleled power to print money, and I think. We were like, oh, it's fine. We weren't getting inflation, but I think it's now in the past year, we are seeing the effects of it. And I think that the China stuff with the yuan will only make it get like extremely worse if oil starts to decouple from the dollar and start to be traded in yuan. That could be a very strong pressure point for the United States to want to exert their military muscle.
Does that make you want to stay in the States?
That makes me want to cause a socialist revolution.
Okay, on that note, thank you so much for today's enlightening discussion.
Wait, are you thinking of buying Bitcoin or Ethereum, whatever?
Not the moment.
Okay.
Poor K.
Oh, I mean, like, I have a friend who's just like very into the crypto space. I would say he's very bullish on Ethereum. But also Bitcoin is, I feel like Bitcoin is the gold standard.
Dude, did I not tell you how my sister likes to invest?
Oh, in what exactly?
No, this is what she does. She's like, Andrea, you have the worst luck when it comes to investing. Like literally anything I put your money into will go down. So what I do is I put your money into it and I will do the opposite with my own money, which will double or triple. Yours always goes down. And so when it's like, Andrea, what do you invest in? I'm like, yo, the only thing I feel safe investing in is Costco. Okay. Because I know that's steady, okay? For me,
Wait, and then she like shorts Costco or something?
No, you don't ever short Costco.
But what's her strategy? Like now that she knows
she knows to like
buy Costco
put a surplus. No, she'll put a surplus in like various things, whether it be Chase. She just plays the market. She's I don't say a die-hard gambler. So she'll know to put my money in something, but like put triple amount, and then whatever I lost, she'll put a little bit of the profit. Like she'll put her profits into it, but she knows she made a profit.
It's like the anti-Andrea.
Really, it's like, Andrea, what are you investing in? So I know what to not invest in or pull my money out of. It's terrible. So Andrea, what are you investing in? Not Ethereum and not Bitcoin. It's safe for everyone else. I'm like, it's been going up. The moment I put my money in, boom.
Yeah. I mean, if you actually are that interested, just ask me when. Because like I do feel like so I got into Bitcoin in 2017.
Just you wait. Okay, we'll have this conversation.
Yeah.
Just you see what Andrew's luck will do when you give me some information.
Yeah.
I'm like, I fucking gotta go the anti route.
I do think that Bitcoin and Ethereum get a bad rap because there are a lot of capitalists that are very much interested in it.
They're pro.
And I think that they've just made it so like that Web3 stuff you're talking about. They just made it so cringe and annoying and stupid, in my opinion. I think that a lot of people in tech and crypto that got excited during that time are really solving for problems that don't really exist right now.
Chat GPT.
Well, that's different. That's AI.
I know. Oh, I know.
But I'm talking about like stuff like NFTs.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but that is not going to be a game changer until at least 2030.
Guess what? 2030 is just around the corner. You wait. You keep smoking that weed, and you're gonna blink. It's 2030.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to smoke.
Toke it to you 2030. So silly.
I'm in 2030 now.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
No worries. I don't think we had any questions, but did you have anything else you want to talk about?
Dude, I think you've blown my mind.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't know like exactly.
No. It's been helpful.
Yeah.
Not to say I'll be able to describe it to anyone else, but I have a better understanding.
Yeah.
And I'm a little.
I would say it's neutral for anyone politically.
I feel a little more pro Ethereum now.
Oh.
I mean, I've always been pro Ethereum, but like even more so.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. I mean, like, I think that, as a communist, I think it can be a tool rather than like what it's being vilified as. Like, oh, it's just a way for capitalists to scam people out of the money. I mean, there is obviously elements of that. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. There are pump and dumps. There are like Dogecoin, for example. I think there's a lot of financial manipulation within the crypto markets. I'm not saying that it's this totally pure kind of like market, whatever. But I think the concept of Bitcoin itself should be examined by anyone who's curious enough to learn about it. But also communists, I think, should learn about it to know exactly what they're talking about.
And if you do have any questions, feel free to, send it our way. Maybe we'll do a bit more exploration. And additionally, Doug is going to post more videos in the comments section or in the area below to give a little bit more insight.
The one that I got two videos to post now.
Oh, yeah, you do.
But yeah, feel free to ask questions. I'll put the stuff in the comments below. We didn't have any questions this time, but hopefully we'll get more. And we'll see you next week, right?
Bye.
See ya.